So I'm so excited to welcome this young lady today. She is not only a singer, she's an actress, she's a songwriter, and she recently took her book and created it into a stage play that is doing extremely well out there. And let me tell you ladies something, okay? I'm going to let her share the title with you. But she took this book, this novel that she wrote, and created a stage play out of it, right? And from then, there's been a huge transition in her life. If you saw the post or whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But since she wrote this, quote, guidebook of sorts, right, of her own personal experiences, a little something happened in her life or whatever, which makes her an expert. I'm going to call her a relationship expert because what she created beforehand had lots of fruit to bear on the other side, okay? So I'm teasing it. Charbria, I'm going to let you in here so you can go ahead and do it and let everybody know what I will call you an expert in, okay? Hold on one second. All right, so we're going to get our girl up in here, going to drop some knowledge on you guys. And I wish I would check her music. I saw a lot of videos out there. Look at you.
Hey, girl. Hey. I'm Charbria Shine, everybody. Hello.
It is Charbria. Charbria?
Yes.
Yay, I pronounced it right. Okay, perfect. You are gorgeous.
Thank you. Of course you are, too.
Oh, my God. Thank you. That smile. My God. Oh, I think we like the same shade of lipstick.
Pink, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pink, fuchsia, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
That's my good
hot
stuff
pink,
right there.
whatever, right?
On and popping, baby. So how are you today?
I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm good. It's kind of muggy, a little downcast out here, but we need that in California and cool some temperatures down. So we had 3 digits for like, I don't know, a couple months or so.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good thing.
Yeah, it's rainy here, a little chilly. I'm in the Indiana area, so it's about that time.
Oh, at least y'all get rain.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, yeah, overcast, that's what I always say. What's the point of it being overcast if you ain't gonna get something out of it? Like no drip drop, no nothing, dude.
You're right,
Nothing.
you're right.
It'll get foggy, but that's about the gist of it. That's as good as we get out here.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so you're in Indiana?
Yes. Yep, I'm about 40 minutes from downtown Chicago.
Oh, cool. How is it out there? We get a lot of guests from Chicago.
Oh, I love Chicago. It's great. Now, I'm going to be honest. I love 4 seasons, but it's a little bit too cold for me in the winter in Chicago. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, but I still love it. I see a lot of shows out there, a lot of shopping, but I just Uber everywhere in the winter. I don't do walking. But I
was going to say, you guys get a lot of snow.
Yes, we do. And it's hit or miss. Some years we've gotten like nothing, very mild winters, but I feel like it's trying to start back up to being really cold and a lot of snow. So
you
may have to come out there during the holiday season.
Well, you ain't gonna get no snow. You ain't gonna get none of that unless you go. There's a big bear. That's what they say about California. It's the only state where you can go surfing in the morning and go to the snow in the evening. Like you can catch every single part.
Wow.
You can get every single season in one state within a few miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been here? Have you ever been?
I have never been to California ever.
Really?
No. And you guys don't have 4 seasons, right? You just have one. It just goes kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It could be cool in the day hot.
There's a fall, but there's not much of a transition. Yeah. No.
Do you like that, or do you like the seasons?
Huh?
Do you like the seasons, or do you like it kind of like how it is there?
You know, I miss the rain. I'm from Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? So, well, Georgia's saying the hurricanes, I'm happy I don't have to run from.
Yeah.
But then again, earthquakes terrify me. I'm going to knock on wood that, we've had some tremors, but nothing,
Okay.
Thank you, John. Now I'm going to say thank you, Jesus. But I don't know. I'm a hot, summer kind of girl, but look, hot summer kind of girl. Oh, Jesus. I'm a hot summer girl. Yeah, no. But not 3 digits. Okay. Yeah. That's the problem over
That's
here.
Too much.
You get too much or you get not enough or whatever. So 3 digit situation, I'm good on that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I'm good on that. So anyway, so enough about me. We're here to talk about you.
Yes.
And you've got a lot going on. I checked you out on Instagram. You have all these wonderful concerts. Congratulations. Oh my God, you have a beautiful voice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, I mean, how did you even get involved or whatever with music to be able to be out there on tour, you know, and do all these things? How did you actually get in the game on that level?
Yeah, to be honest, growing up, I went to performing arts school, so I was into singing, acting, and dancing, but not singing as much. It was kind of like the dancer and actress that sang, you know, in the shows, musicals, but nothing too much. But my father actually plays the guitar and is a songwriter. So that's kind of how I got into the songwriting, just connecting with him, just having fun, just like a jam out session. And one day I brought him a song. I was so excited. I was like 16. I was like, I wrote this song, you know. I played it for him. He's like, oh, it needs a little bit of work. So I was like, okay. He's like, but don't give up, you know, keep working at it. And I just love to express myself, whether journaling, writing. So I kept at it, and I brought him this one song, and he was like, this is actually really good. Let's put some music to it. So that was kind of just like a father-daughter type deal that we kind of got into it. And I just started writing all these songs, and he creates the music for me. And we just start, you know, having all of these music events, really fun.
Wow. So it's kind of a daddy-daughter thing you guys are going. How amazing is that?
Yeah, it's so fun. It's rewarding too.
So you were inspired from a young age, you know, to do that. And so you always comfortable and confident on stage, or did it take you time?
Honestly, yeah, I love a stage. So it didn't take me time. I would say singing took me just being a soloist, because I was always used to being able to dance and sing, or being in a musical, which is obviously so different than just singing, you know, doing a concert. And so I had to just get used to it, because I was always just used to, okay, now it's a dance break. Okay, I get to, you know, show my personality. But it's like, no, girl, you're singing a ballad. It's you and a mic. Like, no, you're not going to do all the glitz and glamour. It's just you and a mic. And so I had to get a little bit used to that, but I love it. I just love to encourage, inspire, entertain. Like, I'm like in my best place when I'm on a stage, no matter what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. And I heard you go from gospel or whatever to, I mean, it's, you know, to Erykah Badu-ish, you know, kind of stuff. You know, I love the bohemian, you know, kind of flavor. So yeah, you do it all, dude. That's what you call a triple threat.
Thank you. Yeah, I love the different styles. So with writing, it's hard to stick to a style. It's like, okay, I want it to have this kind of flavor. I want it to have that. Okay, I want this one to sound like worship, this one to sound like neo. So it's just fun.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you can definitely tell that you have it. But it's just so, you know, so many people have, you know, stage fright or whatever. But the fact that you come, you know, from a musical family or whatever, that definitely gives you a different perspective and comfort level. You know what I'm saying? Than a newbie coming out there. So that is awesome. Sure. Congratulations to you for that.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and transition, because I noticed some things, because, you know, I got to do my background check. You know what I'm saying? So I see this young woman has a book, a novel, that she has converted into a very successful stage play. But then I start scrolling and I'm like, well, how she got any perspective? Because she ain't that no more. Like, what is it, you know, that makes her think that she's an expert to create this stage play? Then I was like, oh, it's recent. You know, the transition is recent. So I was like, well, shoot, she's got a lot of nuggets she can drop on our audience and kind of let them know what it was that inspired the book, you know, and what it was, you know, that the advice you were trying to provide in the book. And then what's happened recently to make things a little different, to change your perspective. And be able to drop some nuggets on some other folks out here. So go ahead and share that with us.
Absolutely. So I just found myself at a place when I was single, starting to get so unsatisfied, y'all. I started to hate my life. And honestly, you know, it's probably cliche, but sometimes, not all women, after we turn 30, it's like, I need to have my career, my man, I need to be married, have my baby. Like, you want to check all these boxes off your list, right? Your goal list. And in the surroundings that I was in, which may not be common, literally everybody young was married around me. I was like one of them. Yes, like, and I will be more specific, like in my church. Right. So it was everybody was married. We're having the marriage conference, the couples night. I'm like, what a singles event.
What a single
I
lady.
mean, what about me and some of the other ladies? And so I just was like, okay, I just got so depressed. And I'm like, okay, am I going to stay depressed because I don't have a man in my life? Am I going to stay unsatisfied? Girl, no, you got to get on up. Create a life you don't feel like you need rescuing from. So I started a blog to encourage single women and realized so many women felt this way, like forgotten and forgotten by God, and just like they just felt so depressed because they didn't have that special someone, or they feel like there were no good men left. And so I really just thought about, okay, we need to create a life, you know, that we are thriving, we're loving ourselves with or without a man in that life. And so I just started dedicating my life to encouraging single women and creating that camaraderie, that group, and just creating a book, you know, the Single and Satisfied Single Woman's Guide to Fulfillment. How can I be fulfilled in my singleness? How can I create this amazing life where if a man does come, he's like, dang, where do I fit in? He got to come with it to fit in this. It's like, woo, okay, she's got things going for herself, you know? And so that was just so important to me. And so it's so funny because here's the book, y'all, Single and Satisfied.
I love it.
Thank you. What's so funny about it, y'all, is when I was launching it, I met my husband. So some women were like, was she lying all this time? She ain't single and satisfied. She got a man there. She had this man, right? And it was so crazy because I felt like, okay, dang, I kind of felt bad. Like, they're not going to believe my story. They're going to think I had this man. But, yo, I didn't. It was a total God thing. Like, I was so focused. I got so single and satisfied with encouraging other people and loving my life and just doing me that I wasn't even really concerned anymore about a man or getting married. And he found me, like literally. And he checked all the non-negotiable, because, you know, nobody has everything, but all the non-negotiable things on my list, as we say, you know, he checked those boxes. And I was like, God did that. And so these ladies, I was able to share my story, my testimony, and let them know, like, I didn't go searching. I didn't go looking. Yeah, I prayed. I left it alone. And I focused on me, loving me, becoming a better woman for myself first, you know, relationship with God, and just creating that amazing life that if a man did come around, he's like, wow. And the first thing I asked my husband was like, why should I let you interrupt my life? And it wasn't out of being like conceited. I was just like, you need to tell me, because I got a good life now. Like, what are you bringing to the table? What is your interest in me? What can we do together? Why is this a good fit, you think? And so that was just interesting. Ladies was just like, okay, we got to hear your story. Like, how did God do it? But here's the thing. This is what's going to sound crazy. I met him. Within 6 months, we were engaged. We were married within a year. Now, if you would ask me,
honestly, that's not unheard of. No. Yeah. I mean, the more grown you get, it's like when you know.
Yes. Ooh. And that's kind of where I was. It's like, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I didn't want. He wasn't about games. Obviously, I prayed on it, you know, all those things. But you're right. I knew what I wanted. He knew what he wanted. And it didn't take a long time. But honestly, if you would ask me, like back in the day, you're going to meet somebody, you're going to marry him within a year. I was like, girl, you stupid. No, I'm right. That's stupid. You don't know him, whatever. But this was the best decision I have ever made. Like, we're so compatible, and he supports me. He's in everything I do. He's my biggest fan. And so those women who think, oh, no good men are left, they're out there. It's rare, but they're out there. They're definitely there. Just do not settle for less than what you deserve. So.
And do you think part of it was the fact that you weren't looking? I mean, they say, like, so many women now, like, the phrase, he completes me, is just like grotesque. There was like, if you aren't whole within yourself, how the hell are you gonna bring a puzzle piece up in there? Like, you have to be whole and loving yourself before you can allow somebody else, you know, to do that. So that whole "you complete me" phrase is almost like a non, like, hey, don't say it.
Absolutely, you're right. And I think sometimes we attract what we are. If you're broken, you're insecure and all this, a man can smell that who ain't right. He can smell that desperation when you're desperate for a man. If you need somebody to control you, they can smell that. And so when you're confident, you know who you are. Yeah, you'll get some of the counterfeits too, but you'll know how to shoo them away. But a real man who's about his business, he's going to recognize you. So I think you're absolutely right. Two halves don't make a whole. You have to be whole, because my husband is amazing, but he can't complete me. And I can't complete him. I tell women all the time.
What do you think about this phrase that pays? wasn't the Temptation? Who was the OJ? You talk about 50-50 love, not 70-40. So what do you feel about that phrase right there? I mean, you are a newlywed. What do you think about that? Is there a 50-50 love?
I think it's 100-100. I think you both need to be whole. You both need to bring that 100%. Now, in life, we know, we're not always at our best. So sometimes, if you're going through something, that other person's pulling you up, and we know that no one's perfect. It's going to be, a give and take, but definitely not no 50-50, half and half. No, I don't feel that.
Thank you very much for saying that. You see, you know what's up, because that's what I say. You ain't going to get no 50-50, depending what's going on in your life and your household and all that stuff. I mean, when I'm working, my husband holding down 90. You know what I'm saying? And I'm doing
exactly.
But now when I'm working, exactly. So there are times when the other one has to step up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that they overcompensate in order to make things work. So thank you very much. You know what's up. So let me ask you something. That said, you mentioned your non-negotiables.
Yeah.
What exactly were your non-negotiables?
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember all of them. I definitely wanted a man who was a Christian, who loved God, who put God first, for sure. And he had to have a job. I'm not saying he had to be a millionaire or billionaire, but he had to have some type of success. Like, what are you doing? What are your goals? We had to be on the same page with children, because sometimes that's a deal breaker. Sometimes
that is very much so a deal breaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes people don't want any. Sometimes they want 10. Like I knew I can't have 10. I'm sorry. Like this types things like that, and just values for me. But even some of the fun things like, do you like the arts? You don't have to be in the arts, but can you stand the arts? Because that's what I'm about. So it's like, can you go to a show with me? Do you respect the arts? For him, it was not, you didn't have to love sports, but can you go to a game with me? But yeah, just things like God, a job. For me, this was a negotiable, but it was a desire of mine to have a man who was never married and didn't have children. And as rare as I know that is, that was a negotiable. But God still blessed me with my heart's desire. And so I do think, and finances, it was certain non-negotiables for how do you handle your finances. So I just think, everybody should kind of have an idea what they want. Sometimes you don't know everything you want. And that's the great thing about God. Sometimes he gives you what you need. There's some things about my husband that I may not would have asked for. But I'm realizing, okay, yeah, my personality needs that. I need someone like that, because that's helping me to grow and to mature. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this. A lot of times, when you get grown, okay, you end up meeting somebody who's in another state. You know what I'm saying? And one of you has to compromise, and move, which is oftentimes hard, especially as the female, because if you do want kids, you don't have that support structure in order to help you out. You can't just drop, BJ off or whatever, Junior off. I don't know why I said BJ. Off to, grandma and grandpa's house, you know what I'm saying? Or have them pick up the kid or whatever from school. A lot of times or whatever, that's the hard thing. You know what I'm saying? Or one of you has to give up your job or whatever when you relocate or whatever. Was he in your area? Like, was he local?
No, I forgot to talk about that. He lived 12 hours away. We were a long distance couple. He lived in South Carolina. I lived in Indiana, which I did not know at the time of talking to him that he lived that far. One of my friends told me he lived about 4 hours away. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, 4 hours. This might not work anyway. Whatever. Let's try. But by the time I started to actually be interested, he was like, no, I don't live in Ohio. I live in South Carolina. I almost dropped the phone. I'm like, 12 hours away? Are you freaking kidding me? So you're right. When we got married, I actually quit my job and moved to South Carolina. Yes, I did. And it's compromise. But to be honest, I'm a free spirit. I'm good with that. Everybody's different. I'm just like, okay, something new. I've never lived in South Carolina. That's cool. But I did think about children, because you're right. I know no one. I have no friends. My family is not here. And so that was a big deal. But I just trust the process. And for me, we ended up moving back to Indiana during COVID. So it worked out anyway.
It worked out perfectly.
Perfect.
Your master plan. No, I'm
right. Look, that was my plan all along. But even his family, they're in Chicago and Ohio, so they're close by. So it worked out. But I think there's always compromise because our careers are so different. He's sports and I'm arts, but it ebbs and
nice.
flows. There's seasons. So there's times where I'm like, okay, you have to travel. Okay, sometimes I can travel with you. Sometimes I may not be able to. And so we just try to pick seasons where if I'm going to do production, this is my production season. If you want me to travel with you, then this is the season I'll travel with you. So it's compromise. And that's the beauty of it. I've heard the fib that, Black men aren't supportive. You can't find a Black man that's going to support you, do all of that. There's so many lies out there. I'm like, It's so many lies on both ends of the spectrum. And I think you can have it the way that you want it, but you have to be willing to wait on it.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So very encouraging also. I mean, you still a youngin'. You know what I'm saying?
Am.
I don't think it was like you were
married 3 years.
You've been married, well, not youngin' with regards to marriage, but you're young woman. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't like you was up in your 40s and 50s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is a little easier to find a clean dude that don't have, a marriage and some kids. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Clean slate.
I know what you meant, But do you know what? That even with my sister who got married, it was her second marriage, actually. She married a man with no children, and they were in their 40s. So I think it's just, what do you want? And like I said, I don't even think that that's always a deal breaker because I feel like we all have past, you know what I mean? So I just think that was just a small desire of mine, but not a deal breaker.
Exactly. And that's what I say oftentimes, because I got some girlfriends, it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's true. I mean, when you get grown, you have to know that people have lived their lives, you know, and depending on how they conduct that past life, like you said, it doesn't have to be a deal breaker. But again, it depends on how you or whatever and that young man, decide to run things because there's smart ways to run those relationships. You know what I'm saying? But if the heart's still there, if there's still that little inkling of desire to rekindle, those kids are a little too, some of them kids, boy, they can manipulate. I want to get mom and daddy back together. So you gotta look at the red flags. Instead of dismissing them. I mean, you have to be open and honest about what this relationship is and what are you willing to compromise to make it work.
Yes. And I had been in actually 3 that had children and had situations, and they were pretty messy. So I think that may have been.
What were your warning signs? What were your warning signs that you were just like, you know what, I ain't gonna be able to do this?
Yeah. So it would be situations like, so one was in theaters. Well, we were at a show and the mother of his child came to the show. And then she was trying to get him to take the kids that day. And he was like, okay, I got to do this. Kind of like controlling, manipulation. And he'd feel like
using the kids.
But it was all the time. So I'm like, okay, if you can't be a man and stand up at some point, it's going to happen sometimes. Emergencies happen, but, and then I found out other things like, she has control a little bit over you. So something's probably still going on because she still wanted him. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was young then too. I'm like, I don't need this. It's stressful.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And what was another warning sign with one or the other? I'm going to get up all your business, girl.
Oh, no, that's okay, girl. I would say feeling comfortable to call anytime and, constantly. And again, when you have kids, you're going to call, but always hearing that you might see them together or you hear these things and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Something going on. I ain't stupid. Something is going on. And I've seen good situations where it's a healthy balance and, they have a good, co-parenting relationship. There's nothing going on. I always feel like there's always a chance if they really were in love that there could be something going on at some point. You just got to watch for the warning signs. I'm just going to be honest. Right.
Because, I mean, if they were close enough to get married, you know what I'm saying, and seal the deal, that is definitely something that you got to, unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, keep top line. But you're right. There are so many healthy relationships where folks are able to, continue on, close that chapter and begin a new one.
Yeah.
So
and have boundaries. Yeah.
Exactly. But okay, so you mentioned your sister is on what, marriage number 2?
Yes.
See, now that I think is okay too. You know, sometimes there's a lot of preconceived notions of that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, the fact that she was open to it again, you know what, and not too bitter, to be
Yeah.
open to that relationship or whatever, that's saying a lot.
It is. And I think because her situation, she went through a lot, wasn't a great marriage. I think that, you know, there's hope for and healing when you've gone through a bad traumatic experience, because sometimes it's like, oh, I'll never heal again. I'll never find love again. I'm too messed up, or my situation, and she had a child out of that marriage. There's always restoration, healing, and someone for you if you desire that. And so I always share her story too. I love sharing that, because a lot of women in my group are like, well, like you said, you're young, you got married first time, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, I hear so many stories from so many women, even at 40, 50, getting married. I love hearing those stories, because like you said, people are always like, well, you're young, or this or that. But I love hearing just testimonies and stories of women who even in their later years have found true love. So
absolutely, absolutely, which is so encouraging. Now let me ask you, when did you get the idea that you really had something, you know, going on? And I think you said you had was it a blog? What did you have or whatever?
Yeah. I had a blog, and then I changed it to a Facebook private group for women.
Got it. So you guys would of course share your stories. Like, do you think that was one of the things that made you so like, you know what, I'm good? Like that whole community, you know, of women or whatever, do you feel like that was part of the reason why you were able to, you know, come around or whatever, and make sure that you were, you know, a strong woman or whatever, enough for to be confident enough to be like, I'm good, you know, with or without this dude, I'm good. Like, how was that village? You know,
I definitely think that's part of it. I mean, your company you keep, definitely. If I was around a bunch of women who's like, girl, you better hurry and get a man, or you getting old, or, you know, then that's going to impact me negatively. So absolutely, I feel like you should, you know, create that village or that community, or join one, you know, to help strengthen you, because we were encouraging each other. And for me, fulfillment came from helping other women, just seeing them being healed and just encouraged and uplifted and inspired. Like, it totally was like, okay, maybe this is my purpose in life. You know, it's kind of like, maybe I'm intended to be this single woman to encourage others. Then I got married, but you know, sometimes it happens that way. And when I changed it into a play, it just opened it up to so much more, you know, for them to be able to see it in action, and to hear just the people's response of, oh my God, I saw myself in this woman, almost all of the women. And, you know, this encouraged me so much, and just them getting the book from it. And just to hear that, it's rewarding. It's so fulfilling for me.
Right. Okay. So I think you have 2 other young women that you do this with. So it's 3 person type play. So what are the different
total? 10 people total, but 3 main characters.
Got it. So what are their backstories? Like, what are each of the characters bringing to the story?
Yes. So the main character, Kara Kensington, which I play, she's a young woman who's obsessed with marriage since she was a little girl, to her detriment. And she's about to turn 30, her 30th birthday. So we know that's the big, you know, time where you should already have it all together. And so we see her really struggle with the whole being single, but she actually eventually finds wholeness, joy, and love again after a devastating breakup. So I wouldn't want to tell you what happened, but it's too juicy.
No.
But she
want
goes
folks
through
to see the play, okay?
She goes through something pretty darn dramatic, and it shatters her. And then you see her best friend Mercedes, who's like, oh, I forgot to say, Kara's like the goody goody church girl, but we find out she ain't that good. And then you got you got her best friend Mercedes, who's the wealthy bougie friend, who's like, I don't need no man, I'm no damsel in distress. Hey, but I could get your man if I want him.
Wow.
She is. Yeah, she's a whole thing of her own. But we actually see some losses in her life that changes her whole philosophy of, I don't need a man, ain't no good men left, but I could cheat around. She's a character. I love her character. And then you have Tatiana Jenkins, the ghetto fabulous friend. You always got to have that one, who is just loud and obnoxious, but she's so funny. Her thing is, because you have this in relationships and friendships, she's actually 40, and she doesn't want her 30-year-old friend to beat her to the altar. So it's almost like she's in competition. So like the first man that she meets, she wants to marry him. And you see her go through with that. But you see the repercussions of what really happens when you settle for less just because you want to be married, because you don't know who you are. What kind of things are possible? What's really going to be the outcome for you? And so we talk about that. But it's real cool. We do like fun dance numbers in it, real talk monologues, fun tunes. It's pretty cool. So yeah, the purpose of it pretty much is just to encourage women to max out their potential and to really strive to create their own lane in life, despite family or societal pressures to hurry up and settle down because their clock is ticking. Because you can get that pressure. I think women, no matter what stage you're in, we get pressure or messages from society what we should be. Yeah. And so it's just really to bring some light or shed some light on the stigmas associated with being a single woman.
Right. Oh my God, I love that. Now,
look, I gotta show a flyer.
That's what I was gonna say. Please show the flyer.
I can see it.
That is gorgeous. Well, congratulations. Now, where exactly can we, experience the play? Are you guys traveling? Are you in like a specific, location? Where are you guys doing this?
Absolutely. So we just got off tour, but we're going to start in 2023. We're trying to choose our locations. So we're definitely in our planning season right now. But they can go to swcthestageplay.com, swcthestageplay.com. Everything's on there. So if they want to see it, they can. If they want to just see where we are, the trailer, everything, pictures, everything's on the website. Or
Charbria.com. Awesome. So there's a trailer. There's a trailer on the site. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I definitely have to. Okay. So I did my Instagram research, but I'm going to have to go ahead and do my research on there too.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, what cities have you ladies been to so far?
So we did a Northwest Indiana tour. So we just started home, just kind of see what the response would be. So we did, we were scheduled in Fort Wayne, we did Maryville, Indiana, and we did Indianapolis, Indiana. So we're looking to go abroad now.
Wow, that'd be awesome. You know what? You may want to check into Essence Fest because that's a big one. That's a big one,
Okay, cool.
Because, in New Orleans, now, how exactly you were coordinated, I'm not sure. But there's a lot of single ladies that go out there, they with their girls, having a good time. So I know that this would be something that they would gravitate toward,
That's awesome. Y'all check into that.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, of course, everybody is, with home or whatever. That's, my first thing, that comes to mind or whatever. But yeah, Essence Fest is huge. Yeah. It is so huge. So, I love that. I mean, now how hard, was it for you to convert your book or whatever? Because I know there's probably several folks out there that are interested in that process because we've had several, authors on here. And so how was that transition for you? Was that, a hard thing? Did you use some of your stuff from your book to create your dialogue? What was that process like?
So actually, before I started writing the play, I did like a 5 monologue series called Single Woman Chronicles on my YouTube channel. And it kind of came from that. I just did improv monologues. Just like 5 for different topics like toxic love, sex kitten. What else did I do? Party of one. So I did all of these monologues. And then after we had a discussion about it. And so when I put my play together, I took those 5 monologues because it's a lot of my experiences or experiences from women I know. And I cultivated the monologues out of those topics. And so my story, like my real story, which is the chapter in my book, The Journey of a Loveaholic, actually is what the whole play is revolves around. And I kind of put my story in there and just set those 5 monologues and I just start writing. I just love creating. So I was like, okay, we got these monologues. What are these women's stories? And I started from kind of like my story and just wove them in together as best friends. How does this look on, on a stage? And it was not a hard process. I mean, maybe it was boiling in me for years. I really think that's the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like just the scenarios I've been through or heard or seen by being in this singles movement that I had, I feel like it just was coming out of me. And I credit it to God because it wasn't, my book was harder, actually.
Yeah. But you had your foundation. You already had your foundation or whatever there. And so I'm sure that, that was the harder part, to create. Now, let me ask you this. What kind of single lady were you? Were you like the, J-Lo type or whatever, where you had to be in a relationship? Like you were in a long-term type girl, like you went from relationship to relationship to relationship, until you found your person? Or were you one of those folks or whatever that would kind of get in a relationship? Maybe you had a bad breakup, you was a little salty for a moment, took a few years, and then you got back in the saddle. Like, what kind of single woman were you?
I might have been schizophrenic because I had 3 different personalities, okay? So I started off, just being real, I started off as I always gotta have a man. I started off that way. Absolutely. Like they say the best way to give up a man is to get a new one. So I'm like, okay, hello. And, I tried to really, reconnect with God, get myself together. And then I started being in the long term. And then that's when I was actually engaged before. And something terrible happened with that, but it's in my book, but we could just skip all of that. But just to say he married my friend. Okay. Yeah. And and so from that breakup, it turned me into just kind of wilding out a little bit. Yep. It was kind of just like trying to find myself, trying to figure it out, probably lowering my standards, just, trying to figure it out. And then honestly, we tried to get back together. And when they got married, it was just like, okay, I'm at the end of myself. God, like, that's it. And that's when I really start pouring into myself. Who am I? My relationship with God, and just really focusing on me and healing, because that's what it was. I was broken. I was hurt. Just healing. And then went out with a couple guys, realized they weren't right for me. Nothing crazy, just wasn't the right person. And then I went on a man fast, quote unquote. I shut everything down.
Times. Yes.
Yes, I shut it down. Like no dates, no calls, no flirting, just me and God in my life. And that's when I starting the blog and all of that. And so people are like, you crazy girl, you ain't dating nobody. Like it's been years, you ain't dating nobody. I was like, I'm good. It'll come when it comes, or if it doesn't, I'm good. Yeah.
So I was for your generation, is that okay? Because I usually hear like, girl, I'm single, I can do it or whatever. I'm gonna focus on my, my professional relationship. So that's, my perspective, you know what I'm saying, on the single generation. But you're saying that the group you were around, because you're saying a lot of your church family was already in a relationship, they actually reacted the other way. Like, dude, you got to get up in the game or whatever, because you're going to get left in the dust.
Yeah. So they like, when are you going to get married? Yeah.
Wow. And again, it's something, whichever clique or whatever you are a part of is how or whatever, and what navigates your response. Because I know a lot of chicks. I'm like, I'm good. And I think that they may put out that I'm good, but in a negative way. You were like, I'm good, but you weren't closing yourself off either.
Right.
When
I went through a season of closing myself off, I thought it was because I'm a strong woman. I don't need a man. But when I really sat down, no, you're hurt, sweetheart. Admit it. You've been through some experiences. So yeah, you can be a strong woman, but you're closed off because you don't trust men. And I went through experiences that made me not trust men. But it was like, okay, once I healed, like you said, I was on a man fast, but I wasn't completely closed off. And that's how my husband met me, that I wouldn't let someone in that was the right person.
Right. Yeah. And so you're saying, okay, so let me, just because I'm being, no. Oh my God, I'm back. Okay. Can you
I can hear
everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope this alarm does not come on again, because I was like, oh my God, what happened? Okay. So let me ask you this. Do you have a relationship with he or the not best friend, but the friend anymore?
Oh, no.
You cut that off. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely cut it off, but we aren't upset with each other. So I'm not a person to hold grudges. I feel like you have to forgive to move on and to be your best self, to live your best life. So I definitely did not hold a grudge. I feel like that's their loss, both of their losses, because I was a good friend to her, and his loss. They did end up getting married, but unfortunately, it didn't work. Yeah, it's a really tragic story, and I won't share. That's their story to share. But my thing is, you never seek revenge. You trust God with that. And so for me, I never did. Yeah, I went through my hurt season, but I'm like, okay, God, that's on them. I know you have something for me. And it's been nothing but a blessing. Sometimes we think, oh, that was such a terrible situation, but I've been able to help so many women just from what I've gone through, And so to me, that's important. So I wouldn't change anything. And I'm glad we did not get married, because he was not the right man for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you're saying after 6 months, you knew your husband was the one for you?
I knew he was the one after the first week.
Oh.
Now I didn't act on that. You got to.
Of course. Yeah. But did you kind of secretly like, oh my God, this is the guy, and not let him on to it, or were you like just from jump, like, you my soulmate, like we gonna be together?
No, I kind of just watched him a little bit, yeah, and prayed on it, you know, and watched him. And the first week of talking, he drove 12 hours to meet me. So I was like, okay, he's serious, because we didn't know each other that long. He's like, okay, and he said he felt it was something special, and he needed to know right away, like, is she real? Am I being catfish? You know, like, you want to know,
Oh,
like,
of course, yeah,
even though we FaceTime, so he knew he wasn't being catfish. But you know what I mean? Like, we really wanted to, you know, be around each other, see each other, and you know, and that was cool. Now, my family did not quite understand, because they're used to Miss Single and Satisfied. So they're like, what? What you doing?
And it probably came out of left field. Yeah, yeah.
It was out of nowhere. So they were very skeptical, but they love him. Once they met him, they were like, oh yeah, we absolutely love him, after a whole bunch of background checks. So.
And I can't blame him for that. I can't blame him for that. So you two have been happily married. Did you say 3 or 4 years?
3 years, yeah. We're newlyweds. We're babies in this thing.
How long are you a newlywed? Like, I thought it was like a year.
I thought so too, but like every time I'm like, oh, we've been married, people are like, you're newlyweds. They're like, up until 5 years. Is that true? That's what people are telling us.
I wonder. I don't know.
They're like, you're newlyweds up until 5 years. Maybe because it's just like baby and baby year, you know, because it's not long.
You know, I don't know. I think this has been so long for me. I think maybe back in the day was like 7 years or something. I'm
really?
Right.
Okay, that's pushing it, I think.
I think that's very much so pushing it. I think
that's almost a decade.
Yeah, I think after a couple years, like, you know, I don't think you're newlywed anymore. I'm not saying, you know, things don't happen or whatever, but I don't know. I think you kind of got your training wheels off after a couple. I mean, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. Only reason why I feel like we're still newlyweds, because it's so crazy. We went through so many transitions. It's like I moved down there, then we had to move back after 6 months. The pandemic hit. Life was crazy for everybody.
Oh yeah, you guys got married in the pandemic.
Weird. Yeah, we didn't get a honeymoon, and every time we would try to go somewhere, it'd be like a hurricane, or well, then it was just always something. So yeah, a lot of times we didn't even get to. I felt like we got to know each other because we're stuck at home together, so that's good. And we didn't have problems.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, that quarantine did a lot for a lot of people. You know, they had to stop and basically live with this person and be like, you know what? I'm cool with you in passing, but this a lot. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Or you realize how much you know had grown apart. You know what I'm saying? During that time, like, I don't know who this person is anymore. We cohabitate, but now that we're, you know, that's what it was. We're not cohabitating or whatever, and I'm just like, I don't know who this dude is. You know, or people use that time to rekindle, you know what I'm saying, the flame, and reconnect. And so again, I mean, that's why the pandemic had so many outcomes or whatever. So you guys were, of course, quarantining together.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of people are like, you guys made it? You know, I'm like, yeah, we made it. Because a lot of people, I guess, were just like you said, having problems or divorcing or newlyweds. I'm like, whatever, we're getting to know each other. I feel like it brought us stronger together. We even had to figure out like his job. We had to figure a lot out together. We got to get scrappy together. We had to get creative together. So for us, I feel like it strengthened us. It didn't harm us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, good. You were on the other side or whatever of it. So that is awesome.
Of course, you're gonna have your disagreements and stuff. That's life, you know.
Congratulations. Okay, so I mean, honestly, you definitely got a testimony, you know, and I love the fact that you've created, you know, this space or whatever, and this, your testimony. You're a living, walking testimony. You know what I'm saying? That true love is definitely, you know, it's out there. You know what I'm saying? It is. And so that's very encouraging. And again, some people aren't made for a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Or they're not made for a relationship in the season that they're in, which is fine. Which is fine. We don't all want the same things.
We don't.
You know what I'm saying? But for young women that are out there who really and truly, and I mean, again, young men or whatever, I haven't heard your husband's, you know, side of things, but that's very, very encouraging. And again, like you said, become whole yourself before you can actually be prepared to receive something like that and recognize it as such, you know? Yeah. So I can see by that bright, beautiful smile that you're definitely in a happy place.
Thank you so much.
Definitely in a happy place now, you know, again, just to be, you know, nosy. Do you have any idea where you may want to bring a little one into there? Is that something that you want?
Yeah, we actually do. So originally we said we were going to wait after 2 years, but then once the pandemic happened and everything, we were like, okay, so I would say probably within the next 2 years.
Nice.
Something about there. Yeah,
Nice.
probably. And
Yeah.
I think too, just because I've been just moving so much with my career and everything like that, which I know you understand, just trying to plan some things out.
Yeah.
My mother moved away, but she's coming back in May. So I'm like, Mom,
shame on her. Oh, okay. So Mama's coming back in May.
She's coming back. So I'm like, because everybody wants us to have kids. I'm like, well, you guys need to help, or we're gonna just get some help. Either way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're going to want to anyway. So, yeah.
You said you only wanted 2?
Yeah. What's that?
You said you only wanted 2 kids?
Well, no, I wanted 1. I wanted 1. My husband was like, no, I got 2 brothers. We're going for 3. And I'm like, I don't know who you going to go for 3 with. And my little ratchet kid, I mean, he was like, I'm good. Like, I don't want nothing.
I heard you say that earlier. You're like, nope, after what?
Girl, she was like, but again, it's easy for me to say that now on the other side because she's such an awesome, young girl. She's so responsible and she's polite. One of the young ladies that was helping me with the pickups and drop-offs or whatever, she said the same. She was like, oh my God. She was like, she can have conversation. Like, she just won't give a, yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Do you do volleyball? Yes, ma'am. She doesn't just do that. And she can have a full-on conversation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think the only thing is, if I were to have another one, which I think that shop, I'm going to shut that down. But I would do it for her, not for me. Okay?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
I would do it for her, not for me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm at the point right now where I'm like, this chick about to be 12. I think she good. And there was a point
she used to it now.
Yeah, she would ask for whatever. I mean, I think she would be like a surrogate mom almost.
Yep.
John, go get the bottle, baby. You got it. John, go change the diaper. You're good. So I mean, at this point, I'm just like, I don't know.
Like, no.
Yes, she's that preteen thing. Like, that's yours, mom. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Exactly. You know it. Yes. Yeah, we want 2, but if I could be honest with you, I want 1 pregnancy. So I'm praying for twins because I'm like, 1 and done.
Do you have them in your family?
Yeah, my mom's a twin. Yep, and he has them in his family. Yep.
Boom. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. We go ahead.
Look,
put that vibe out on you. Claim it, girl.
Yes,
claim it.
Yes.
Yeah, because the pregnancy part, I was just like, I want the result. Like I wasn't that chick like, oh, let me do photos. I have maybe 2 photos of me pregnant. And one was because one of my girlfriends forced me to take a photo. Really? Like, I did not want to take photos. Like, I was just like, this ain't cute. Like, this ain't like, oh my God, I'm so, I was not that chick. Okay. I just wanted the result of pregnancy, but the whole time, girl, I ain't got no blackmail material. That's what I call them pictures. Blackmail material. I'm good.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I hear you.
Yeah, so when that time comes for you, I'd love if you are that woman. I want to see your photos. You're going to be one of those chicks on the ocean with your dress blowing in the wind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that probably is me. Probably
yeah,
so.
Yeah,
but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, because I feel like you never know till you're experiencing it, right?
And that's true, too. So I'm very happy that you know that already, too. Girl, I ain't got to teach you nothing. Okay? I thought I was going to have a whole conversation, giving you advice and shit, but I ain't got to do nothing. You got it figured out. And I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your personal life, your professional life, to share that smile, to share that positive energy with us. And it's so encouraging. I think so many people need that or whatever right now. So that positive energy. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. I had so much fun.
Oh my God. But you are definitely, I know you do speaking engagements, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So you definitely got what it takes. Or whatever.
You.
So here's a blessings to your acting career, your stage or whatever plays. If you're writing another book, now that you on the other side, I think that'd be a great thing for you to consider.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be great. Have a testimonial book or whatever.
Yes.
So we're going to put that on you too, girl. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love your energy.
Thank you so much for having me. Had so much fun. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Well, keep us posted. Okay, and before I let you go, give me your Instagram handle and give me that website again.
Okay, Instagram is charbriashine.com. Oh, that's not Instagram.
And spell Charbria.
Yep, Charbria. So everything Charbria Shine. So CHARB as in boy, RIA, Shine, SHINE. So that's me on all social media, and that's also my website. And for the play is SWCthestageplay.com. That's SWCthestageplay.com. Or it's on my regular website too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Now, is Shine your real last name?
It is. Yep, that's my marriage last name. Yep.
Wow.
That's not my husband's last name.
You got a better one than I did. Well, congratulations. Yeah. But people thought it was a stage name. My man is like, no, it stands out. I'm just like, oh my God. So
everybody always asks me, they're like, "That you made that up." I'm like, no, that's actually my husband's last name.
It's a little too perfect. It was a little too perfect. So, oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and have a wonderful rest of your week. And thanks for joining us on Louisiana Wednesday.
You too. Bye.
Bye.